Yeah, Monty Hellman, I did stay at his Airbnb. That was like, I think it was before I had decided to do a book about Cockfighter, and I think it was kind of like while I was staying there was really when I decided to do it. Because, you know, I first came in, he has this big poster of 2 Lane Blacktop in his kitchen, and I said, oh, the movie of yours I really like is Cockfighter, and he just goes like, ugh. Worst movie I ever made. I was like, worst movie? I said, worse than Silent Night, Deadly Night 3? And he's like, I like Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. So he like stood up for that movie, but was like, thought Cockfighter was like at the bottom, you know. So I was like, well, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to, you know, prove to him that it's a great movie. So I acquired this for Severin. This was like one of my movies I bought. I don't think anybody bought it.
I bought it.
It didn't sell. Okay, thank you. It didn't sell super well. But I was like, it's like Australians do the best prison movies because they're a country made of prisoners.
Yeah.
So it's like they have like Ghosts of the Civil Dead, which I don't know if they would have here because it's never been properly released.
We had a VHS. I think we might have transferred it to DVD though.
Okay. Yeah, Ghosts of the Civil Dead I still think is like the best prison movie, but this is like the second best prison movie.
Yeah.
Scum. Stir. Got to edit that.
Yeah,
it's referencing Scum on the cover.
Yeah.
But because the movie Scum, which is like a boys' school prison movie, which is also amazing by Alan Clark, came out before this, and I think they're actually referencing Scum in that way on the artwork. But so this one,
Poor Pretty Eddie.
This is a huge movie for me. I love this movie. It is a very politically incorrect movie for many reasons. But I saw this movie when I first worked at the Alamo Draft House. I used to be a programmer there, and we had this series called Weird Wednesday that they still have now. But at the time, early on in the Weird Wednesday history or whatever, it was all films that they had bought, like old drive-in film prints, and a lot of times they didn't know what the movies were, and they didn't know what the condition of the movies was, so they would just play them for free on Wednesday nights at midnight. So anybody could just roll in off the street, come see a free movie, which meant that, you know, people who are just like drunk jocks and stuff would like come in and see these movies because they were on 6th Street, and they'd just be like, what the hell is this movie, you know? So we ended up like cultivating like a fan base for certain movies and certain audiences or certain directors and stuff there, just because, you know, it was like some weird thing that nobody had ever seen and everybody was experiencing it together. And something like Poor Pretty Eddie is, I mean, it's, I guess in some cases you could call it a Hicksploitation movie, you could call it a rape revenge movie, you could call it like, what else would you call it?
Rape Revenge is the first thing
Rape Revenge. But it all takes place, it's all filmed in Athens, Georgia. And so it's all, and I read this article where the people of Athens are very embarrassed by this movie. They're not happy to be represented by Poor Pretty Eddie. But it all takes place at this old lodge called the Charlie Williams Pinecrest Lodge, which was still active in the 70s, but it's been derelict for decades now, and it's like deep in the woods, like totally run down. And this morning we were looking for it, and so we hooked up with a guy named Klon Waldrip who lives in Athens, who used to eat there as a kid, because it was like a restaurant. And he took us out there, and we had to go past all these like no trespassing signs, do not enter, you're being filmed, blah blah blah. And we get out there, and it's just this, I mean, it's like crumbling. Parts of it have crumbled and collapsed. You know, we were able to walk all around it and take pictures like inside the building, which looks like people have been squatting inside it and stuff like that. And there's an old like water wheel connected to the building that is still there. So yeah, we got some amazing pictures, but apparently it's going to be torn down in like May.
Yeah.
So it's doomed. But very happy I was able to see that location because it is an all-time favorite movie. Well, white dog. I think this was my first Criterion DVD I ever bought, White Dog, because not only am I a Sam Fuller fan, but I'm actually a huge Kristy McNichol fan, who is the actress in this movie. And Kristy McNichol's from Little Darlings, and she was on a TV show called Family that was like my favorite show as a kid. She played this tomboy character named Buddy, she was like my role model as a kid. And then but I still think it's a kind of a weird choice for her to be in this movie. It's just not the kind of movie she normally did, but super interesting film. Oh, Kenny and Company. You love that movie.
I do. I love the Don Coscarelli coming-of-age films that preceded Phantasm, Jim the World's Greatest, and Kenny and Company. And this one is owned by Disney now, so I'm not sure if it'll ever come out again. It's a Blu-ray from Japan that you can get. But I really love... it seems like it's going to be a kid's movie, but it's almost more for like adults that remember their childhood and like how it felt around Halloween. I don't know, it gets kind of heavy in places too, but it has a lot of the cast members, like Reggie Bannister is the teacher in it. So people that are into Phantasm, like Michael Baldwin is the best friend in it. And actually the deleted scenes from Phantasm that have the brothers having a food fight in an ice cream shop feels more like something out of Kenny and Company. But I always wish this could get re-released again. I know that Don Coscarelli would love that.
I got The Dog Who Stopped the War and Gina, not a double bill, but I worked on both of these. I did commentaries on both of these films. Gina is this incredible rape revenge film by Denis Arcand. And The Dog Who Stopped the War is like a movie that when I was a kid was always on TV. And I had a rabbit whose name was Bandit, like a pet rabbit, and I changed its name to Cleo, which was the name of the dog from this, But yeah, it was like, it's this very... I don't know. I don't want to spoil it because it's got, kind of an... have you seen it?
I've not seen it yet.
Okay. Well, it's got an ending with a capital E, so I'm not going to wreck it, but people should definitely watch The Dog Who Stopped the War.
Yeah, and they should listen to your commentary with Justine Smith on Gina, because it's one of my favorite historian commentaries of the last
favorite historian comedies.
Yes. That's hilarious.
Please Don't Touch Me. The Orman film, Please Don't Touch Me. I know a lot of people probably the Exotic Ones is one of their famous ones, and The Footman Tire You, What Will Horses Do? But I actually am a big fan of Please Don't Touch Me. So it's about a woman who's a very busty woman in hot pants who is like sexually repressed. And all the trouble that her husband goes through dealing with her sexual repression. So yeah, that's a great movie.
The Las Vegas Strangler, Amanda Reyes and I did the audio commentary for this one, and it's a film that was lost for decades, and Amanda showed it to me thinking like, hey, do you want to join me on this commentary? And I look at it and I see all these names that had been involved with Al Adamson. She and I had done an Al Adamson book for Severin Films, and so I'm looking at it, and I'm noticing that there's this musical number with the woman who's in Psycho a Go-Go. And a long story short, we determined that it's actually a musical scene that was cut out of Al Adamson's first film and lost, and was like reappropriated into this film. So it was actually like lost Al Adamson footage that had never been seen. And I even talked to Sam Sherman about it. No one knows how it wound up in there. So just one more piece of the Al Adamson puzzle for fans of his, and it's a pretty fun proto slasher if you just are into that. But for Al Adamson completists that are out there, it's one more piece of that puzzle.
My friend Sam used to call certain movies the Janisse special, which it usually just meant some teenager with a switchblade and a double denim outfit, and or just some weird thing like he always would call movies like if it was something that only I would like, and he would just be like, who would like that movie? But I don't necessarily know how you would define that other than something that's dear to my heart.
Is there a movie that would be like the apotheosis of that?
Well, something like Der Fan. The movie Der Fan, which is literally what you're
literally
holding.
What I'm holding.
When I ordered that movie for the first time, it was like in a catalog, like a bootleg catalog from European Trash Cinema, and it just had some description like, teenage fan obsessed with pop star goes nuts or something like that. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. And I ordered it. And Sam would always make fun of me. He's like, that's a Janisse special. And he's basically where it's like some movie no one's ever heard of, but of this whole catalog, that's the movie you're going to pick, you know. Because he would often order stuff like every Jess Franco movie and every, like all the stuff that was like kind of more canonical or by more canonical directors and stuff. And then he'd be like, you would just pick the weirdest things.